This video is brought to you by War Thunder. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring. More information on War Thunder coming soon. Faust: 7 Games of the Soul is a deranged PC game that came out in 1999. The game was intended to be viewed by audiences as a cultural piece of high art rather than just a video game, which is an insane ambition when your game looks like this. It was a massive commercial failure. There's been a lot of speculation as to what exactly went wrong with this game. It had a decent budget, yet barely managed to sell 10,000 copies in the UK and 14,000 in the US. That's pretty bad. A lot of reviews looked something like this. The real problem with 7 Games of the Soul is that it's not only nonsensical, but it's also pretentious. I think part of the problem is that the marketing team was possibly drunk? Hey guys, what do you think we should put first thing in our trailer for the game? Something that really puts our team's best foot forward. Oh, that's a good question. It's gotta be tigers humping. I wish I was kidding, that really is one of the first things you see in the trailer. The worst part is, it's relevant to the story. The game's story is a strange reimagining of the German folklore and legends surrounding Faust, with the most famous iteration of course being the Goethe play. There's not a ton of information on the development, but there was a clear intention that the game ought to be a disturbing adventure for adults with some themes that would push boundaries. My favorite kind of themes. The puzzles were intended to be complex and thought-provoking, but most of the time they kinda just don't make any sense, unfortunately. Challenge your favorite streamer to beat this game with no guide and watch the light slowly drain from their eyes. The game's opening and trailer tells us all about a closed-down amusement park called Dreamland. Dreamland was once a place of whimsy and fun, but after a string of violent crimes, it was condemned and closed down. The owner and creator of the park, Theo, has just passed away and arrived at the pearly gates. However, there is a tiny little problem. Apparently, a lot of the people involved in Dreamland were a bit morally complicated. Their human souls were filled with both good and evil. A demon meets with a man called Faust who has forgotten who he is.
Mephistopheles at your service. Allow me to help you out a little, put you in the picture, as it were. The boss and I have a slight disagreement concerning a few souls, people who lived and worked here, about whether they should be sent up or down.
That's right, apparently God and Mephistopheles have a disagreement about what to do with the souls of the people of Dreamland. Faust, with all of his memory loss, has been chosen to help.
What exactly am I supposed to do?
Faust must investigate the lives of these individuals and find evidence for and against their character to help figure out if they're deserving of heaven. Since he has no memories, he's a completely unbiased referee between God and Mephisto.
Where should I begin?
Let me think. Yes, better put you in the right mood from the start. I hope you have a strong stomach. Follow me.
As it turns out, I don't have a strong enough stomach for what Mephistopheles was about to show me. In the menu, there's a jukebox, and it appears that a lot of this game's budget went to licensed music. As a YouTuber, this is truly the worst nightmare. The first souls that Faust must investigate belong to Jody and Lily, conjoined twins that live and work at the park. At the start of the chapter, Mephistopheles makes some edgy commentary about how literally close they are, comparing them to being bound in a marriage, and then he turns scary briefly for some reason.
Until, as they say, death do they part.
As you explore the living space of the twins, the story starts to come together, kind of. Sometimes the way that this game feeds you the story can be a little bit confusing because basically you click on an object and then a voice line plays to give some context to the characters or the story.
Say, Jody, did you ever wonder what it would be like to sleep on your front? I guess we would have to swap beds, Lily. Oh, out of the question, right?
Right, out of the question.
Of course, with it not being linear, not everyone is going to click everything in an order that necessarily makes sense, so it definitely can get a little bit convoluted. Even the game itself literally tells you that it recommends playing the game multiple times to put all of the pieces together. Also, sometimes when you click on an object, the game is just really weird for absolutely no reason. You'll just be minding your own business and all of a sudden, bam!
Come here, pussycat.
Anyway, one thing that becomes very clear about the twins is that they have a very big interest in money, and they're willing to do pretty much anything for it.
They can laugh at us if they want to, darling, but a cent is a cent, and we've already collected around $50 like this. $50, do you realize?
Come here, my beauty. You and I are gonna get along just fine. You'll see.
They use any of the money that they collect to loan out to other people to have control over them. They have a particular fascination with another performer at the park named Hannibal, the tiger tamer. The twins believe that if they just keep loaning Hannibal more and more money, he'll become so indebted to them that one day they could just convince him to marry them in exchange for the massive debt.
Oh, shining stars of heaven, twin goddesses of my temple, receive this precious antique as proof of my adoration.
Oh, Jody, that's lovely. Isn't it? Lovely. I'm not sure, but definitely second-hand.
Lily, the sister who is more mild and kind, seems to have a genuine interest in Hannibal.
Good night, sweet prince.
Versus Jody, who really seems more interested in controlling him.
One day you'll be mine, big boy.
This is where Mephistopheles comes in. He saw an opportunity to make Jody an offer for a demonic pact.
I invited myself into her dream and offered her an enormous amount of money, more than she could possibly have imagined. It was a winning lottery ticket with the entire jackpot just for her, of course.
Tell me how much, master.
You see, there's one important lesson you can learn from greed. Everything has its price.
All Mephistopheles asked of Jody was that she drop her pursuit of Hannibal. In exchange, he would give her a winning lottery ticket. He had plans to try to manipulate Lily into a contract as well, but unfortunately for him, she refused.
No, the money, it doesn't interest me. I'd have to share it anyway. But Hannibal, on the other hand, now, I could have him all to myself.
I granted their wishes. Of course, there was one minor detail to settle.
The sisters used the lottery money to surgically separate themselves, but the matter of greed still prevails. Jody is annoyed that her sister thinks that she is entitled to some of the money, especially considering that she deliberately turned down her own demonic pact for her soul. Jody's a bit resentful that she is the only one that had to give anything up for their abundance of wealth and is kind of consumed by greed despite having more than enough for both of them, and things don't turn out well.
Till death does us part. What'll I do with you now? Even dead, you're a burden to me. Well, as Nathaniel often says, when faced with a problem which seems impossible, divide it into fractions and solve it bit by bit.
It is then heavily implied that Jody feeds Lily's body to Hannibal's tiger so that she can be close to her beloved forever. That's kind of fucked. She also hides her skull in the haunted, spooky-themed area of the amusement park. So like basically Pirates of the Caribbean. How it used to be anyway.
Come here, pussycat.
Before we take a look at the next soul, here's a quick word from our sponsor. While the game we're discussing today covers the more literary side of history, War Thunder is for those interested in military history. War Thunder features detailed models of powerful war machines that will give you a glimpse into past battles. There are over 2,500 vehicles at your disposal, including tanks, planes, helicopters, biplanes, armored cars, fighter jets, and ships from over 10 different major nations. You'll have no shortage of war vehicles to choose from as you send your arsenal into intense PvP combat against a community of over 95 million players. With that many players, there's bound to be differences of preference for playstyle. War Thunder features 3 distinct modes: arcade for fast-paced matches with enhanced unit performance, a simulator mode that doesn't hold your hand to present a true challenge, and a realistic mode that balances between the two. While we're talking about preferences, you'll be able to customize your units. There are tons of customization styles ranging from camouflages to historical markings to decorations for your vehicles, and some of them are even community created, which is super cool. You can take control of these vehicles with just your mouse and keyboard or a controller. There's no fancy setup needed. There's even an all-new mobile version available for iOS and Android. Personally, as you've all seen many times before on the channel, I really like the historical side of video games, and it's cool to be able to take a detailed look at some war machines that really existed and fought at one point. New and returning players that haven't played in the last 6 months on console and PC will receive a big old bonus pack. You will get the exclusive Eagle of Valor decorator, 100,000 silver lions, and a full week of premium access. This PC and console bonus is available for a limited time only, so be sure to claim it now. War Thunder is free to play on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile devices. Whichever platform you choose, be sure to sign up with the links in the description and pinned comment below. The next character is really fucking boring and the level pissed me off, so I'm going to mostly gloss over it. Nathaniel was offered all of the knowledge in the world by Mephisto because he's a huge nerd.
Oh, dear Lord. When you were handing out simplicity, this man surely missed out on his share.
Mephistopheles sees Nathaniel toiling day and night to learn everything he can about the universe. He sits down with him and is like, hey idiot, what's the point in struggling to learn when you know you can't possibly learn everything, because you're just a filthy human, and you'll just die.
I am offering you knowledge. Absolute, all-encompassing knowledge. I offer you the deepest possible insight into the secrets of the universe, and immortality to boot.
This chapter features a gratuitous amount of gameplay in comparison to how much story it gives you, and it can at times be extremely fucking frustrating. Trying to open this letter with the letter opener took years off of my life. My blood pressure has permanently increased. This water wheel thing doesn't fucking work. You're supposed to stop it a little bit early before the basket you want arrives so that it can stop within reach. It takes 5 trillion years for the basket you need to come around again. I even tried save scumming near where the basket is about to come around again, but the game doesn't even let you do that. Like, damn, even Mephistopheles gets so angry in this chapter he digs his nails into a chair.
Yeah. Scholars. Too much time spent with their heads buried in books and not enough fresh air. It's not a healthy way of life. Well, maybe I am a little upset, but these intellectuals are killing me. I'm not keeping you, am I? Well, of course not. You bastard.
Basically, Nathaniel just refuses because the cost of the infinite knowledge and immortality is that he can never interact with human affairs again, which kind of defeats the purpose of why he wants knowledge to begin with. And through all of this frustration, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Nathaniel's home holds a strange contraption, and inside of it is my flamboyant, beloved homunculus son.
Homunculus to serve you, my liege.
You see, the homunculus is a figure in Faust lore, a small artificial entity created by man that lives in a bottle.
So, let us kick some demons, shall we?
The homunculus serves a few purposes. His bottle can fly, which means that he can reach things Faust cannot. He also serves as the game's hint system. To replenish hints, he makes you play through a shooting gallery minigame for reasons I cannot comprehend. Like, dude, you could just give me a hint. That wouldn't be that hard. The next soul up for judgment is a man named Frank. Frank is a painter that is
more obsessed with sex than skill,
and wishes that he was literally Casanova. I hope you guys like Blockateals because there's about to be a lot of them. As you explore Frank's house, you start to realize that he was quite the womanizer, but the ladies mostly just kinda mocked him and turned him down. While his idol Casanova was actually an accomplished and interesting person, Frank wasn't really. Well, actually scratch that, he is quite interesting I suppose, because the door to his bedroom has a painting of a lady pinching another lady's nip-nop, and the only way to open the door to his room is to insert a pencil into the nipple getting pinched. Who made this door? Where would you order architecture like this? And now I present a scene that the game doesn't really provide very much context for, but it has really good facial expressions. And also, the music is copywritten and a woman is moaning uncontrollably, so I have replaced the sound with a jaunty royalty-free tune for your listening pleasure. Did you like that? Did you like my royalty-free tune? Faust has absolutely no problem crawling into Frank the pervert's bed to look around, but has enough sense to be kinda scared to find out what's held in the secret compartment above it. Whoa, there's a flashback in here. Frank was desperate to change his situation and welcomed Mephistopheles with open arms and even excitement. His role in Dreamland was that of the deformed man, and he often wore a mask to hide his face. Mephisto made him an offer he just couldn't resist.
I came to offer you a deal. I have the power to make your dream come true. I can make you irresistible.
Irresistible? You mean that every woman I want will fall at my feet?
Those and others too.
Frank does not for a second consider the weight of selling his soul for the ultimate gooning experience.
Deal!
Frank's house is partially underwater in Dreamland's lake, and I don't know why, but there's a lot of shots where the camera just has you looking out into the water, and I was convinced something was going to scare me the entire time. And it turns out I had good reason to fear what lurked beneath the lake's murky waters. Frank's masturbatorium rife with moaning and stock scream sound effects. In this room, we find out that Mephistopheles granted Frank the supreme ability of seduction and irresistibleness, but at the cost of his skill. Frank would be able to create one final painting that would be his masterpiece and would exhaust all of his talent. He gained the ability to read minds, which he could then use to seduce people. However, it turned out to be more of a curse than a blessing because while he could manipulate everyone, he could also know for sure that they did not love him or respect him. One thing I don't really get about the story here is the implications about Frank's character. Mephistopheles explicitly tells him that he'll only make the pact if Frank agrees to be a good boy and never hurt women. So if that's the case, I don't get why the dark room is so horrifying, full of disturbing pictures and screaming. I don't know, I don't get this one. But all is forgiven because this jump scare made me laugh. Frank eventually gets so emo about being able to read minds all the time that he decides to set himself on fire. Mephistopheles saves him, though he is badly burnt.
Enough!
It'll start becoming a recurring theme over and over that Mephisto is evil, but somehow finds himself doing good things.
You must not hate me for what I do. There is a purpose in it. I didn't choose this life. For 3,000 years, men have blamed me. 3,000 years in the company of mankind, I ask you, who deserves the most pity?
The next soul is Kalinka. Kalinka is a genuinely kind person and has quite the chaotic love life. Hannibal, the tiger tamer that the twins were lusting after, pursued her quite aggressively. Kalinka rejects his advances, and he's convinced it's because she must have some dead lover that she's hung up on.
Well, I'm alive, darling. All flesh and blood, and rather nice flesh when it comes to that.
Hannibal, you are wrong. My lover is not dead.
Her lover is indeed not dead. He's a secret. The drama. The twins were quite jealous that Hannibal gave her attention.
She won't steal our man.
The hell she won't.
Kalinka is a seamstress that creates costumes for the performers of Dreamland. She would always take extra care and consideration for everyone's outfits, even when those people weren't always the nicest to her. To get her away from their man, the twins came up with a plot to try and frame her for stealing a necklace, hoping that Theodore would fire her. It's kind of ironic that the twins wanted her gone so badly when all she ever did was turn Hannibal down because of her secret lover. Exploring Kalinka's house reveals that she had a baby with this mysterious man. Also, I got stuck on this part for a very long time because one of the rooms is actually bugged out. An item that you absolutely need to progress is in this drawer. However, to open the drawer, you have to click all the way over here. This enraged me. Mephistopheles sees that Kalinka really is a kind person and forces you to use a machine created by Roger Bacon in a segment with a time limit to warp reality and help her. Shout out to my fellow Bacon enjoyers.
Hello, my name is Roger Bacon.
While using the machine to warp back through time, a flashback shows that Kalinka's secret lover is Frank the pervert. Apparently, Casanova did find his one true love. However, he didn't want people to refer to the baby as the son of a monster, so that's what all the secrecy was about. After Kalinka's story wraps up, Mephisto and Theodore have a little conversation about how they met. Theo says that he was reading Goethe's Faust when he summoned the real Mephisto. The way he describes it would be very funny without context.
Well, I repeated that sentence aloud 3 times, and he came.
Yes, I did.
It's also very heavily implied that there's something they're not telling our player character, Faust.
You would be wise not to reveal our little secret too soon. It's part of our arrangement, remember?
Now, you remember in the beginning when I said that the tiger humping thing in the trailer was relevant to this story? It is now time to find out why. I'm sorry.
Like I said to Frank, I have the highest contempt for macho bullies.
You see, Hannibal the Tiger Tamer is a macho bully, according to Mephisto, the guy that relentlessly pursued Kalinka and was relentlessly pursued by the twins. Hannibal thinks very highly of himself, as evidenced by his room. He has posters of his accomplishments and even a giant painting of his own face hanging above his bed. His stage name is Hannibal Red Narcissus, the Tiger King.
I called for help twice. And not a fuck you, what do you need, or nothing.
I'm not sure what's worse, when you click on the twins mirror and Mephistopheles is like,
"Come here, pussycat."
or when you click on Hannibal's mirror and he's like, yeah, whoa, ooh, ooh. Sorry about that, the music in that scene is copywritten, so I just, I I improvised. Anyway, Hannibal is a raging alcoholic, but the story is set in the time of the Prohibition. He gets his alcohol from Todd, a dwarf performer at Dreamland. Todd is a bootlegger. Hannibal threatens to turn him into the police if he doesn't agree to bring him a tremendous amount of alcohol on the regular. He also speaks to Todd in a very derogatory manner and even whips him. The whole scene serves just to show what a huge piece of shit Hannibal is in terms of the way that he treats and views other people. Then, for some reason, a bunch of rats are in his bed? Get out of here, you filthy rats. Yucky. Ew. Gross, get out of here. The only time Hannibal speaks positively about anything is in regards to his two tigers, Zeus and Apollo. He tells them that he wishes that he was a tiger, and that they are the princes of this world and he is the king. Hannibal's entire world revolves around these tigers. Tragedy strikes when the evil twin feeds her sister's murdered body to them. One of the tigers dies from consuming the flesh, and it's kind of implied that she purposefully poisoned them. Hannibal tweaks the fuck out and vows to eat the tiger's murderer himself because he really wants to be a tiger, so apparently that's how you deal with problems.
I will have my revenge, freaks, even if I have to sell my soul for that.
Upon talking with Mephisto regarding Hannibal's contract for his soul, he seems to be very, very amused with himself. Hannibal was so desperate to change his situation to get revenge that he sold his soul for a mere $1, and he never once considered the wording of his contract. Mephistopheles is clearly not Hannibal's biggest fan, so he gave him a bit of a monkey paw situation, and this is the weirdest fucking scene in any game I have ever seen in my entire life.
To escape the law of the feeble man. He wanted to be a predator. Allow me one little riddle. What's the worst thing that can happen to a macho bully? You guessed right. Sometimes it's hard to be a woman. Bum ba bum ba bum.
I did not need to know that that was Hannibal getting tiger porked live on screen, and I also really did not need to see his face superimposed over that, but here we are. What do you think they told the animators for that scene? Like, do you think there was any reaction? I'm just imagining an animator sitting there going, I don't get paid enough for this. Moving right along to the next person, Todd.
To some people, he's a hero. In the eyes of the law, he's a criminal. But as usual, I'll let you judge for yourself.
To open the door to Todd's house, you have to punch a punching bag. Yes, I know that doesn't make any sense, but this is a puzzle game. This has nothing to do with the plot, but the scene is a work of art.
Oh, so that's the way you want to play it, is it? Okay. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Or
The quality of those sound effects rivaled even my own.
Or
Todd's character is a little bit edgy. Exploring his home reveals that he was born on the Day of the Dead, and that due to his condition, his parents wanted to kill him at birth. Thankfully, he was saved and adopted.
This is why we call you Todd, because you came to us right from the arms of death. Todd, to wear the name of death is a good job, very powerful.
This game tells me that apparently Todd means death in German, so if you're named Todd, congrats, you're cool. Todd was very against the prohibition and felt that the government shouldn't ban alcohol, but rather tax it and use the money to feed and shelter people who needed it. He decided that he would, quote, become the government and take the matter into his own hands. Todd is very arguably the most morally gray character of this story. On one hand, he cares a lot about people and helps them. On the other hand, he has a ring of child laborers that make his alcohol.
Okay, kids, it's like a game. First, you jump inside and you dance on the fruit until it's like marmalade. Then, you use the press to get the juice.
The children are hidden behind a secret tunnel behind some barrels. As Faust makes this discovery, Mephisto sees him bent over and bobs him on the ass because why not? Let's, could we hear that sound effect one more time?
Sorry, no, I'm so sorry. I just couldn't resist it. so tempting. Oh God, it's good to laugh.
This story will give you whiplash because the condition that Todd kept the children in really wasn't the best. But they were orphan children, so at least they had somewhere to go and food to eat, but also they were being exploited for labor. But also, Todd used the profits to help other people. But also, he was kind of mean to the kids sometimes.
One at a time, you street cubs, and if I see anyone eating with their paws, they'll be washing the dishes for a week.
But also, if anybody, like Hannibal for example, was ever mean to the children, Todd looked after them and stood up for them. As we know, Mephisto hates Hannibal. Hannibal, if you recall, was forcing Todd to bring him alcohol and treating him very poorly. Mephisto disguises himself and challenges Todd to a game of cards. If Todd wins, he'll get ownership of all of Hannibal's debts. If he loses, the game goes, you lose.
It's over, Hannibal. No more bottles. Never. That will see. You monkey.
Todd makes it very clear that Hannibal has no more control over him. If anything were to happen to Todd, it's been arranged for a fur trader to take an interest in Hannibal's beloved tiger's luxurious coats. Why does Mephistopheles make faces like this?
It would be most reassuring for many of you to assume that demons don't have hearts. We all started out as humans and can't wipe away every trace of good within ourselves just for your convenience. I am genuinely sorry. But in reality, we demons do have feelings, thoughts, and dreams. We're also prone to loneliness.
Mephisto points out that he as a demon isn't unfeeling and evil because of where the story is taking us next. The final soul up for judgment belongs to a woman named Giselle. Giselle's story is by far the best of the game, and I was shocked that amidst the insanity and goofiness of Faust that this segment actually really made me feel something. It's kind of fucked up and it's very sad. Giselle is an obese woman who is paraded around in front of crowds to be mocked as the world's fattest woman on Earth. Flyers for her performances claim that she is over 550 pounds. Audiences would gather around and watch her struggle in her bath. The other chapters focus on the relationships and character flaws of the Dreamland crew. Giselle's focuses on the disturbing way that the performers were viewed for simply being different. For example, you can see flyers for the other characters, such as Frank, where he's depicted as having a deformed face because he was burned in hell. It states that he's the most terrifying monster of all time, which is obviously a cruel way to present somebody that you know didn't choose to be born looking that way. You don't need me to tell you that at one point in history, freak shows like this were real and very willing to dehumanize people to make a buck. Theodore, Dreamland's owner, defends displaying these people this way because he says that they wouldn't want to be beggars, and that even if the job is humiliating, they'd rather work and have money. As you look around where Giselle spent her life, you hear echoes of the kinds of comments and disgust people would direct at her.
Oh my God, look at that!
How awful! Ugh, I think I'd rather be dead.
And oh my god, I hate music copyright because I wish I could play the song that's playing in the background of this. It adds so much to the atmosphere. It's a really gloomy cover of Far, Far Away From My Heart, and the cover is by Presence, so if you're curious, you can look it up. What the? There is definitely something going on with the scale of the 3D models because that is a very tiny tub for a 500-pound woman. Unraveling Giselle's story as you rummage around through her things reveals a pretty sad story. She is immobile and can only interact with things within her immediate reach unless she has help. She's essentially a prisoner trapped inside her own body. A newspaper clipping tells a story about a young girl that lived on an isolated North Dakota farm. She and her family were completely cut off from the rest of the world by heavy snowfall. Unfortunately, the family did not have enough food to make it through the winter, and everyone in the house but one little girl starved to death. Clearly traumatized by going through such an event, the feeling of hunger caused her to relive unpleasant memories, and she developed a fear that someday she may not know when she'd be able to eat again. This caused her to overeat to the point where she's at now. She took a job with a kind baker, but ultimately ended up stealing pastries to comfort herself. She was fired, and well, one thing led to another, and that's how she ended up at Dreamland for work. A place that not only accepted her weight, but encouraged it. Now, up until this point in the story, Mephistopheles has been either extremely against or neutral at best with these characters. But Giselle? He saw how isolated and lonely she was, stuck there in her room, in her own body, and tried his best to provide her with a little comfort. He created a fake radio show where she could call in and actually have some company.
Okay, welcome again, folks. This is Meth, with you right through those dark savannah nights here on Devil FM 666. Our next call comes from young Giselle. She's an artist in a famous amusement park. Giselle, nice to have you on the show again.
Hi, Beth. I needed someone to talk to.
That's why I'm here, Giselle. A voice in the loneliness.
Giselle would talk at length to this mystery radio host. She would tell him all about how her audiences would laugh at her, and even sometimes that they looked like they felt saddened by her. She tells him that she didn't mind the laughing at all, as that was part of her job, but she didn't want to ever make anyone feel sad.
Keep a smile on your face, kid. You're not the only one to feel alone and frightened sometimes.
The more the two talked, the more they befriended each other. Mephisto became more and more dedicated to trying to comfort her as he realized what a kind person she was.
And I knew I shouldn't do that, eating all that pastry and all, but I was always afraid that it would start again. So I prepared myself. I was so afraid, Meph. I didn't want to steal, I promise.
Hey, sweetie, it's all right. I understand.
Eventually, Giselle felt so connected to Mephisto that she asked him if they could meet in person.
Meph? You know, you were my only friend, and I was wondering, do you think maybe you could come over to the park, and that we could meet and talk, and... Oh, that would be wonderful.
I can't, darling. It's, well, basically against the rules.
Okay? It's all right.
Damn it. I've never cared much about the rules anyway. Okay, sweetie. See you soon.
Mephistopheles and Giselle begin spending time together in person frequently. One day he tells her that he has powers and asks her if she could have anything, what she would choose. She tells him that she misses her parents and that she would like to see them again. This part of the story gets particularly dark. She tells him that she often thinks of ending her own life to escape her body and see her family again in heaven, but fears that if she were to get there herself, that God may not let her in. Mephisto tells her not to do this. Mephistopheles, despite not wanting her to end her own life, recognizes the pain that she is in. He tells her he knows that her heart cannot bear the burden of her weight indefinitely. He gives her a magical clock that counts down to her final moment on Earth, so she has something to look forward to. Oh my god, this is fucked. He also gifts her a magical spoon that will allow her to eat anything she desires to comfort herself, but this magical food won't hurt her. He then tells her that she should make the most of the time she has left and to do something with herself to make her parents proud when they see her again. This turns out to be a terrible, awful, horrible, catastrophic recommendation. You see, Frank the pervert carts off with her to his pervert emporium while talking about ink. Now, this version of Frank is before Mephisto fixed his face, so he hadn't signed a contract yet and was still an artist. I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. Frank had been having thoughts of human skin being a quality canvas for his art, and he realized a 500-pound woman has a lot of skin. Now, the worst part about this is how the game very slowly and nightmarishly presents this reveal to you. It doesn't just tell you outright. My eyeballs damn near popped out of my head when I realized what was going on. Giselle agrees to be turned into a work of art because she figured that that would be something worthwhile. She could turn the body that caused her so much pain into something that could bring people joy. The canvas was submitted to a museum and became a famous work of art, and no one ever discovered its true nature. Meanwhile, Faust and Mephisto start beefing over the rule breaking that was helping Giselle.
You know you cannot do that, Mephistopheles.
Don't lecture me on what I can or cannot do, Angelito. I love that kid, and I will do whatever pleases me to help her feel better.
It's against the rules, Mephistopheles. Here, only I am entitled to know what is good or not for these people. We each have our roles to play, demon. You tempt and reveal. I comfort and soothe.
And in what way did you soothe her, Angelito?
This has nothing to do with you. You have no right to don heaven's robes whenever the mood takes you.
Rights! Rights! Is that what is at stake here? The celestial golden rules against the well-being of that child? Well, damn me if that's not a crisis of conscience. Oh, I wouldn't like to be in your pair of wings. Now you remember. You let me help her, and they punished you for that by sending you back here. Courage, my friend. I see an end to your troubles, and it's just a few steps away.
So there's a big twist at the end of this game. Faust, our player character, is actually an angel that had his wings stripped for helping a demon break the rules. But wait, there's more!
Last act. Spectators are kindly asked to go back to their seats.
Could someone tell me what game we're playing here? I guess it's not the Game of Souls forecast.
Souls? You know as well as I do that souls are beyond our jurisdiction.
What then, Theodore? Can you enlighten me?
There were never any souls to deem worthy of heaven or hell. Mephisto is tired of living in the human world. He's tired of his demonly duties after 3,000 years. Theodore signed a contract with him that he would replace Mephisto in his work if he could find someone truly worthy of taking over Dreamland. Someone that deeply knew and understood the human heart and would care for anyone that was part of the park. There are two endings. The first is if you refuse to take ownership of Dreamland. In this ending, you sign over the contract of ownership to some dude. I genuinely don't understand why this ending even exists. The whole scene lasts like 12 seconds. You literally just sign the paperwork and the big corpo guy goes, "Hell yeah," and the credits roll. I also don't know why the back of Faust's head is purple in these scenes. What the fuck? In the good ending, you do decide to take over the park, and this happens.
I am sorry, sir, but I intend to reopen this park, just like it used to be.
Yes! Sir, I really think you should
Out of this place now!
Indeed, you just sign the contract and take over Dreamland. Then my silly little homunculus son starts floating off into the sunset talking about Todd's ass.
Well, what are you staring at, Cherub? Let's
I
go to
told
work.
you not to call me Cherub, right?
Why not? I mean, you are rather small. You've got the wings, and what a chubby little cherub bot.
Someday, I'm going to break that damn bottle of yours. I swear I will.
And there you have it, the story of Faust The Seven Games of the Soul. I kind of hate this game, but I also love it very much. This game is indeed pretentious, and it's wild that it had aspirations to be considered high cultural art rather than just a video game. On the other hand, it is a ton of really good dorky fun. Aside from the puzzles being really cryptic, you cannot get through this game without a walkthrough, I promise. I also think that Faust and Giselle are both extremely well voice acted, and they're both really interesting characters. And of course my beloved homunculus. The motion capture is also really funny. The theater kids refer to this as milking the giant cow. And look, for better or worse, whether you like it or not, one has to admit that this game really is unique, and I respect it for that. Thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring and helping make this video possible. Again, War Thunder is available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile for free. Please remember to use the links below to sign up if you want to check it out. Also remember, the bonus pack for PC and console is for a limited time only, so you'll want to claim your premium vehicles, in-game currency, and more today. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoy these videos, consider checking out my Ko-fi. If you're feeling generous, you can leave a one-time tip to help support the channel, or if you're feeling turbo generous, you can subscribe monthly, similar to Patreon. Also, if you like games and hanging out and talking about weird stuff, check out the Discord server.